I'm trying something new, and I really honestly don't know where to look. My phone is on an angle in the car, and I'm not really sure where maybe I look at the camera. Anyway, I apologize if I'm not looking where it makes sense. But I am totally inspired and need to share this. I just had an incredible session with one of my clients, and it really came to me about the importance and yet the common situation or the common experience where in business or in life, personal life, where I want to be helpful. I want to be contributing. I want to meet people's expectations, and I don't want to disappoint people. So the situation that came up with my client that really resonates with me is that we were talking about family and I wish I knew where to look. Okay, if anybody that's watching could tell me when my phone is on an angle and I'm on a Facebook Live, where my eyes should be, that'd be awesome. Feel free to comment, but I'm going to try to let it go. Okay, so back to the point. For me, it's really about boundaries. And when I say yes, and I mean no, like if somebody asks me to do something that just doesn't fit, or I don't have the time, I'll often, in the past, more so, I would say yes, because I wouldn't want to disappoint. But I also would feel stressed and worried that I didn't have enough time to do it, or I wouldn't do it good enough because I wasn't truly in it, really wasn't invested in it. And so one of my clients was talking to me. We were talking about business, and we were talking about leadership. And then I said, you just strike me as fairly more tense today than normal. And she said, my in-laws are coming and I am so stressed. And so we talked about it, and what it really came down to was that when they stay with her, and when she gets home from work, she actually really needs like 10 minutes, like just 10 minutes of not talking to anybody, not having to answer questions, not having to engage with anyone. She just needs 10 minutes to be quiet, to really transition from work to home. And we talked through the idea of how challenging it is, because she'll say, we talked about the possibility of talking to her in-laws about this need. And what it came down to was that she didn't want to disappoint them, and she didn't want to, she knew that they would take it personally, and that her mother-in-law would be offended, and that she would be upset by it. Or that they would judge it, or they wouldn't think it would be okay. And so what we realized was, and what I brought light to, was that fact that regardless of what that other person thought, it's really about what we think about it. And so she was realizing, I'm not a good enough mom if I'm not immediately available when I get home. And I'm not a good enough daughter-in-law if I'm not available, especially because when they're there, they help with things. They help with the house, and they help with the kids. And so by putting boundaries around that time, it could be offensive to them, or it could be seen as not appreciative. And yet, truly, she's driven as a professional and as somebody that wants to be her best. She's driven to be her best. And for her to have those 10 minutes, that makes it possible for her to be even more her best when she's showing up as a mom in the evening, when she's a daughter-in-law. So we talked about ways that she could get her needs met, and we came up with a solution about doing the decompressing, the unwinding before she got back to her house, so that she didn't have to ask anybody for it, but she's going to work in time for herself. To really calm down and to get grounded, and to let the day go behind her, and leave it behind, and then help her transition into and back to the family. So you know, leaders in our lives, whether it's a parent and you're leading in your family, or you're in a business and you're leading, we have needs. We have basic human universal needs that we absolutely need to have met in order to be our best. Now, when we feel frustrated by something, or discouraged, or guilty, anxious that we're not being a good wife, or being a good father, or being a good supervisor or employee, that those feelings, those uncomfortable feelings, are clues. They are clues, and they are feedback from our body that a need is not being met. And often it's because we're not seeing it as valuable and as important. But they are. They truly are. So, and I believe that as a culture, the word needy has such a negative connotation. And if I have needs, or I'm needy, which are different things, then that's not okay. And that if I am needy, then it's usually I'm expecting you to meet all my needs. And the reality is, we as humans have to take responsibility, 100% responsibility for our needs. So I do what I can to think creatively about how can I meet my own needs. And then when I'm in a calm, confident place, I can make a request to my loved one, or make a request to my supervisor. I can make a request from a place of grounding. And I can make a request that knows ultimately I'm the one that's supposed to take care of my own needs. And the request is simply that, a request, rather than expecting that other person to meet my needs. It's a whole different energy, and it's a whole different way of approaching meeting our needs. So it's so important for us to realize we have our universal human needs. I have my needs that will keep me alive: food, water, shelter, love, connection, right? Safety. Those needs keep me alive. But then there's this huge list of human needs that help me in being not only my best, but being happy and being present. And those needs are important too. Needs like independence, understanding, compassion. Needs like being heard. And when I have those needs met, then I can more likely show up as my best self. So I want to invite you to start paying attention when you start to notice feelings that you find uncomfortable. The feelings that are like guilt, or frustration, or discouraged, or withdrawn. If you notice you're starting to withdraw or close down, I want you to think about, what do I need right now? That is such a great place to start. So owning your feelings about that and starting to think about your needs will really help in shifting that, because we have needs, and I will do my best. And the part of the beauty of having a support network, having people that we work with or live with to make requests of each other, that's the beauty of being in relationship. So we can make those requests, and when we can help each other meet our needs, our relationships strengthen, and our joy can return, and our relief can be there. It's the key is to not expect that other person to meet our needs, but to truly take responsibility. So it's acknowledging and noticing when our discomfort is happening. It's thinking about what our needs might be. It's considering ways that I can meet my own needs. And then when I'm clear and able to make a request of a loved one, or a coworker, or a supervisor, and I can make that request knowing that it's simply a request, it's not a demand. I can make that request, and if they're able to, super. And if they're not, then I get to go back inside, find my dig deep and find other resources inside of myself or other resources of other people that I can make a request to. So that in my mind is it's about boundaries, and it's about knowing that we have needs and saying truly no when I mean no, and then sitting with the discomfort of that guilt and then figuring out what it is that I need in that moment. So I've rambled a little bit, but I just, hi everybody that's watching. Thanks for joining me here in the moment this morning. I really want to help transform how leaders show up for themselves and how they can truly be their best. And it involves self-awareness, taking responsibility, and then taking action and being in the discomfort of a new habit of taking care of ourselves. And so there you have it. Brave leaders set boundaries. Brave leaders listen to what's going on in their body and in their feelings. Brave leaders acknowledge their needs, and they take full responsibility of meeting those needs and making requests when they can from a place of responsibility and accountability for themselves. So that's it for today, and I wish you the best. And again, I still don't know where to look, so hopefully I can figure that out by the next time I'm in my car. I set a boundary for myself and decided to do my daily post before I got back to my house, because I get in my house and then I'm just inundated with things that I want to do, and I put off posting. So here I am, straight live from my car to you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.